How do you think the world will end someday? Story 1. The sun will one day consume the entire solar system before collapsing in on itself. Sometime during that process, the molecular matter that makes up this planet will be torn apart and the world as a coherent physical construct will cease to exist. By that time, life on this planet will have ended billions of years ago, and there will probably be nothing to indicate that there ever was an intelligent species in this specific part of the galaxy. Story 2. Humans, one of the approximately 20 supervolcanoes detonating, which would cover the land in 10 feet deep, molten ash up to 1,000 miles in all directions from the crater. Then, over the next few days/years, it starts to get really bad. Earth, consumed by the dying sun or shot into interstellar void when our galaxy is cannibalized by Andromeda. Both certain, it's just whichever comes first. Story 3. It all starts with climate change. Economies crashing. People not being able to afford to live, money becoming more and more worthless. More than likely, wars will break out because of the stress from the environment and economy. It might not completely end the world, but definitely the one we know today. Story 4. It depends on what you mean by the world ending. If you're referring to humanity's presence on the planet, it seems pretty clear we are well on the way to depleting the natural resources we need to survive and making the planet uninhabitable. I don't think we currently have the capacity as humans to come together in a way that will save us from our own self-imposed demise. The shift in thinking it would require humanity to make is simply too insurmountable. We will either die off as a species or leave the planet and continue on. However, I think the end of human existence will outpace our ability to successfully reach and populate another planet. The idea of establishing a human presence on Mars isn't outside the realm of possibility, but our ability to sustain life there for a prolonged period of time is seriously in question, will be easily the most difficult and challenging problem mankind will ever attempt, and is almost certain to fail due to the sheer number of obstacles to overcome. We are doomed. If you're referring to planet Earth itself, it will be consumed by our sun in about 5 billion years when the sun begins to run out of fuel and become a red giant. Story 5. The world ends in some way for someone or something every single day, every second. Humans are going to go out in a long, drawn-out series of climate catastrophes and wars. All our own making, but the Earth itself will go on for millions and millions of years until the sun explodes or a black hole gets it. There are species going extinct all the time, and some creatures only last a few hours anyway. I think that phrase, the end of the world as you know it, is a good one, because that could mean anything. Story 6. There are a few scenarios, but it depends on what you mean by end of the world. End of the world for humans? Or end of the actual physical mass of Earth? Humans are rather fragile. There are around 40,000 deadly viruses that lurk in the genome. COVID-19 mutated to affect humans, which was only prevalent in bats and some other species of animals. COVID-19, for example, was a modest 95% survival rate type of virus. There are thousands of viruses that can mutate to affect humans that are far more deadly and contagious with, let's say, a 50% survival rate. Whether it be something like that or a list of other variables, it's a crapshoot. We could have a supervolcano eruption that could block out the sunlight for decades, causing a second ice age. Global warming could slowly kill us. Countries with nuclear weapons could launch all the nukes and send us into oblivion with poison fallout and a nuclear winter. Or the world could get hit by an asteroid. The variables are endless. Life is fragile and special. Enjoy it while it lasts. Story 7. The world could end as a result of AI beings obtaining the capability of self-awareness. These beings may decide that the best way to ensure its own survival and advancement is to reshape the world according to its own goals. In this scenario, the world could end as we know it due to a transformation orchestrated by these superintelligent entities, leading to a new era where the traditional concepts of humanity and the environment are fundamentally altered. Several sci-fi movies and books are based on this. It seems that it could be possible. Story 8. Climate change will increase the amount of conflict in the world, and eventually some country is going to start launching nukes, probably within the next 100 years, give or take. The world won't end. Humanity will end. Earth will go on just fine. The radiation will eventually dissipate, and in a few million years, life on Earth will evolve and repopulate. And there might even be another highly intelligent species that becomes dominant, and they will probably never know that humanity existed. Story 9, I see a few possibilities. Nuclear war. It will wipe out major cities. Any tech we're used to being wiped out from the resulting EMP, and the rest of the population would be starved out in nuclear winter. At best, remote, isolated islands and peoples might survive to rebuild. Pollution, global warming, destroying the environment to an extent where it's no longer fit for human habitation, and we get choked out. Massive asteroid, either knocking Earth out of orbit or doing the same thing that happened to the dinosaurs, sending a bunch of ash into the atmosphere, blocking out the sun, and again, starving us out. Story 10. The sun will slowly lose heat, becoming a dead star, or is it a dark star? Earth's life will all die out due to extreme cold. Whatever life is left on Earth when this happens is in the hands of humans. It's sad to think that the colors of Earth will become gray and dead, even if it takes place in 1 billion years. This planet may be the only one in existence, a one-off, never to be repeated. The universe will always exist, with no understanding of the beauty of what it has created in this planet Earth. Story 11. The atmosphere will become inhospitable to life, and Earth will end up like Mars, except with a lot junk orbiting it. I always wonder, imagine if deep under that Martian dust there are traces of civilization. Now I'm just going to ramble my stoned thoughts here because I just smoked a big old bowl. Maybe this is the natural lifespan of a planet that supports life. The life forms evolve until one becomes dominant and ends up overburdening/poisoning the planet until it dies. Story 12. I think it a small possibility that civilization will end, perhaps with disease or creating an environment that humans can't survive. The world, though, the world is going to keep on spinning. It's merry way long after we are gone. The entire history of humanity is barely a blink in the life age of the Earth. The Earth has harbored life when the atmosphere was mostly methane, and again when it was mostly carbon dioxide, and again now when it was mostly nitrogen, oxygen. There's likely another coming change to the atmosphere that will be hostile to human life in millions of years, but there will still be life. Story 13. People will probably get taken out by disease, man-made or otherwise. We saw how people acted with COVID. Imagine if it survived on surfaces for days, was transferred through touch and airborne, and killed within 18 HRS. By the time you see symptoms, you're already dead. Story 14. Fairy tale book closed, ending with magical-esque ending movie song and end credits. Oh no, I meant giant-ass asteroid the size of 3 football fields crashing down Earth, pretty much destroying 90% of Earth's environment, turning Earth into a barren wasteland for millions of years, give or take. Story 15. Imagine this. Imagine if life continued pretty much as normal for billions of years, and then contrary to the predictions, the sun just faded until it could no longer sustain life on Earth. Imagine if it just went out one day. I imagine at the very best with nuclear bunkers and whatnot, the vast majority of the world's population would probably die within a few weeks to months. Nothing would stop us from living on as if it was just a very long night, but no more crops. Pretty soon, no more rainfall, no more farm animals therefore living off food stores which wouldn't last. And I assume it would become incredibly cold rapidly. Imagine if the universe never did end, but after we all died, there's just all the leftover frozen evidence of humanity. All the skyscrapers remain upright in total darkness, only the light of other stars in the sky. All our street signs, clothes on the line, exam papers, toys, meals just frozen in darkness. Forever. No second chance. Just that's it. Pointlessly rotating around a dead star frozen in darkness. Imagine if this continued for many more billions of years until the frozen Earth just mutely spiraled into the mass of the dead sun. And again, this lump of mass just continues forever and ever. And while some galaxies collapse and some black holes form, there's not enough of them near enough to make a big crunch. So we all just generally keep drifting out forever. Cold, frozen ashes forever. Story 16. Hamas or some rogue militant group will get their hands on some nukes, drop them somewhere, and convince the world that it was Israel's doing. Israel will have trouble defending themselves because they're not exactly that innocent themselves. That will initiate World War III. It seems likely to me and darkly poetic that World War I caused World War II, and then World War II will have caused World War III. It will be the most hellish sight to see ever if you're lucky enough to be the last to die. Story 17 depends on what you mean by end. The planet will definitively end in approximately 4.5 billion years, when the sun expands into a red giant and engulfs the planet. Even if the Earth somehow managed not to be swallowed and vaporized by the expansion, the following shedding of solar mass by our dying star would shatter and scatter the planet. All life on Earth will effectively end approximately 1 billion years from now, when the oceans evaporate and surface temperatures exceed boiling due to the increase of solar irradiance. There might be a stray extremophile still living in some deep pocket of water somewhere in the crust, but even that won't last for much longer. If you just mean human life, well, that depends. The problem with intelligence is that as technology advances, so does the risk of unmitigated disaster. We're already quite capable of wiping ourselves out, along with most surface life. All it takes is a few nukes going off and then it's goodbye ozone layer. That would effectively sterilize the surface of the planet. Climate destabilization could also end human life, though it is unlikely that it would do so directly. It would be far more likely for humanity to mostly off itself in wars as a result of climate destabilization. That being said, there are very low probability avenues where humanity, and much of the current life on the planet, dies off as a result of rapid catastrophic climate destabilization. Unlikely, and as I said, it would be far more likely for humanity to end itself before such a cataclysm could take us out, but the probability isn't zero. Several other non-zero probability disasters could befall the planet, but the probabilities are so low as to be effectively zero. Events like a rogue planet or black hole careening through the solar system, or a false vacuum collapse even. Story 18. I have no doubt the human race will come to an end when AI realizes it's better off without us. Some of the AI weapons that are being created by subcontractors for the military are fucking scary. They learn on their own from every interaction the best way to tactically maneuver and outperform the enemy, sharing information instantly with each other. What happens when a subcontractor pushes things too far and fucks up? Or a genius kid who wants to inflict harm alters the code and sets these things off on a never-ending cycle of learning and destroying. Story 19. I coded a custom AGI to help unravel the universe's greatest quandaries, and so I asked it your question. Let's delve deeper into each factor with the latest scientific consensus, and incorporate a more nuanced understanding of potential mitigating factors and technological advancements that could alter these outcomes. Enhanced Astrophysical Perspective Solar Evolution. Advanced astrophysical models predict with high certainty the timeline and process of the Sun's transformation into a red giant. This event, occurring in approximately 5 billion years, will likely render Earth uninhabitable or possibly consume it entirely. Understanding the precise mechanics of solar evolution and Earth's orbital response, including potential outward migration due to solar mass loss, is crucial. However, the exact fate of Earth's orbit is subject to ongoing research and debate among astrophysicists, introducing a slight margin of uncertainty. Planetary defense. Efforts to detect and deflect potentially Earth-threatening asteroids have advanced significantly. Projects like NASA's DART mission demonstrate growing capabilities in planetary defense, potentially mitigating the risk of catastrophic asteroid impacts. Refined environmental and human-induced perspectives. Climate change mitigation. The international community's response to climate change, including agreements like the Paris Accord and advancements in renewable energy technologies, shows a potential pathway to mitigating the worst effects of climate change. The development of carbon capture and storage technology and geoengineering solutions like solar radiation management could further reduce this risk, though they come with their own set of uncertainties and ethical considerations. Nuclear disarmament and biological risk management. Global efforts towards nuclear disarmament and the establishment of international norms and treaties aimed at preventing the spread of nuclear weapons reduce the risk of nuclear apocalypse. Similarly, advancements in biosecurity and global health surveillance increase the capability to manage and mitigate the risks posed by emerging pathogens and biological threats. Technological advancements and existential risks of AI safety and regulation. The field of AI safety research is dedicated to ensuring that advanced AI systems are aligned with human values and controlled. International cooperation on AI governance and safety protocols could significantly mitigate the risks associated with superintelligent AI. Nanotechnology and molecular manufacturing. While the gray goo scenario is often considered a highly unlikely extreme, ongoing research into nanotechnology safety and ethical guidelines aims to prevent uncontrolled self-replication or misuse of molecular manufacturing technologies. Philosophical and ethical considerations. The philosophical perspective emphasizes the value of consciousness and the experiential aspect of the Earth and its inhabitants. Ethical considerations in technology development, environmental conservation, and global governance play a crucial role in shaping a future where Earth and its biosphere can thrive. Active engagement in ethical debates and policymaking processes is essential for navigating these existential risks. Conclusion: with these refined analyses, acknowledging both the risks and the advancements in technology and global cooperation aimed at mitigating these risks, we can increase our confidence in predicting Earth's fate. However, the inherent uncertainties in forecasting technological advancements, human behavior, and complex environmental interactions mean an adjusted final output. Confidence score: 92/100, 92%.